This is a presentation on letter recommendation best practices.
Let's go over some of the logistics about the UCHP letters of recommendation process in general. By March 30th, you will want to have requested all your letters of recommendation because the earlier you are in this part of the process, the more time you are able to give your letter writers the opportunity to write you a nuanced letter. All letters of recommendation are due to UCHP by May 15th at 5 p.m. If you wish to add an additional letter to your application after the deadline has passed, you should speak with us to discuss your individual circumstances and why this letter is important to your application. In thinking about who to ask on your behalf, you want to pick people who will be able to write you strong letters of recommendation, because not only do these letters support claims that you made parts of your application, they also allow you an additional opportunity to understand both your potential contributions to your chosen profession and also your specific motivations for pursuing it as well. As requirements go, all applicants must submit a minimum of 3 letters from the following writers: 2 from science faculty and 1 from a non-science faculty member. It is strongly suggested that the 4th letter come from someone who can speak to who you are outside of the classroom. This could be your PI, volunteer coordinator, academic advisor, coach, the list goes on. Alumni in the application cycle must also submit an additional letter from someone who can speak to their postgraduate work and/or experiences. In addition to the above requirements, applicants get the opportunity to submit an additional letter. This means that current students may submit a maximum of 5 and alumni may submit a maximum of 6. For MD, PhD, and MSCP applicants, we encourage you to include a letter from a principal investigator with whom you conduct your research with. For applicants applying to MD, PhD programs in a non-science discipline such as anthropology, we recommend you obtain a letter from a faculty member in the discipline to which you will be applying to. All applicants requesting an HMC letter, at least 2 of your faculty letters must be from current or former UChicago faculty with whom you completed a course with. Now we're going to switch gears a bit and talk about who you should have write on your behalf. You want to pick writers who know you well as an individual and can give the reader insight into aspects of not only your academic career, but also your co-curricular pursuits that may not necessarily be visible in your written materials. These letters should reflect your ability to cultivate relationships with professors and supervisors, because you want that person to not only be able to identify resources you utilize well, but to also add support to your application. These letters should also go beyond the surface and get into the contextualization of your strengths and weaknesses. For example, if an applicant was or is a top student in their class, a letter that attests to this without providing much personalized information will not carry as much weight as a letter will from someone who can not only speak to an applicant's personal characteristics, but also their interpersonal skills, values, and commitments. Below are some of the examples from writers who knew an applicant well and was able to speak to competencies that medical schools look for. As you saw from the examples on the previous slide, those letter writers were able to speak to competencies that an applicant exhibited from a particular experience. When medical schools are evaluating applications, they are looking more so to see how an applicant has or has not demonstrated the following competencies listed below. We've also provided you with the link from the Association of American Medical Colleges website that provides an in-depth overview of each competency, and it also provides guidelines for writing a letter evaluation for a medical school applicant that you can send to your letter writers. Once you've decided who you want to write on your behalf, it's best to be proactive and start reaching out to them early so they will have adequate time to compose thoughtful and detailed letters. We encourage students to begin reaching out at the start of winter quarter. We also encourage you to ask in person so that you can both elaborate on the purpose of the letter and also get a sense of whether or not the person is comfortable supporting your application. As we mentioned in the application guidelines, a strong letter recommendation will add to your application, while a weak one could potentially hurt it. On page 19 in the application guidelines, it gives you a list of what to include as you reach out to people of interest, just so they'll have enough information to construct your letter. Please remember that each letter of recommendation must be accompanied by a waiver completed on advice stream. While schools accept both confidential and non-confidential letters of recommendation, letters that are confidential tend to hold more weight and hold more confidence. After you've completed all of the steps, politely follow up after a few weeks and ask if the writer requires any additional information. Then once your letter has been submitted, remember to send a thank you note and to also inform the writer of the outcome. Lastly, please remember it's your responsibility to follow up with each writer to confirm that his or her letter has been sent to USAHP. We will not be following up on your behalf. You will be able to track whether or not your letter has been submitted through the advice stream system. As always, please reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns.